Hello. Today I'm talking about ebbs and flows in work and investing. It's interesting because about the last month and a half to 2 months, I have hardly done any work in our bookkeeping practice. There's certain tasks that I could have done, but I decided not to do it. And it is amazing to get to the point in your business where the perspiration ends, the sweat equity ends. And it could be a season. There's seasons and there are times. A time is something that happens once. You're in high school. You have your friends in high school, those 4 years. And now you don't know anybody from high school. You don't, I mean, you're not in touch and you're not, talking, you're not hanging out. You're not, you just know it was a time and now you have memories. That's a time. It's something that happens once. Seasons happen again and again. Like you have a baby, you get the baby off of milk and onto solid food. You get them to sleep in their room at night by themselves. When they're a toddler, they learn to wipe their own butts at some point. They learn to speak. Okay. But then you're like, hey, I got baby fever. I want to have another baby. And then you start the process all over again. And that's a season. So there's seasons and times. That's a good analogy. But poor people think that if you're not sweating, you're not working. And nothing could be further from the truth. There are lots of wealthy people that sweat still. I'm not talking about like working out and whatever. I'm talking about your sweat equity and working hard and hustling all day and being exhausted and your body speed up and all that stuff at the end of the day when you come home. Well, inevitably, if you're like a plumber or an electrician or you have a pressure washing company, you can make a lot of money doing those things. You can make a lot of money in sweat. But as it goes, the older you get, the more your body gets beat up. You don't want to crawl under another crawl space. You don't want to climb another 30-foot extension ladder to reach that spot up there with the pressure washer. You don't want to do certain things that you grew up doing because practically you're getting older. You've paid the price. You don't want to wake up sore anymore. Inevitably, if you want to make more, okay, but stay in the industry like a sweat industry, you're going to have to learn business. You have to learn to hire people. You have to have a bonus structure. You have to have incentives to keep them doing good work. You have to have quality control inspections. You have to have systems for management. You have to watch that, you don't get busted by OSHA. There's all sorts of things that you have to do that you have to learn. There's different skills to develop if you don't want to sweat anymore, but you want to still make the money. And so when you get up into the upper echelons of money, not that I'm in the upper echelons, I've hung out with a few guys that are in the upper echelons. But you go, okay, how do these guys not sweat? They're not sweating and they're just making loads of money and it doesn't even look like they do much work and they don't really do much work. You're just like, how is that possible? So I go back to my life and I go, crazy, the last 2 months I haven't really done much. Now, there's things you can always do. There's things that you keep up on. But really, I've probably put in 5 hours of work in the business in the last 2 months. My wife puts in more. She is more the operations person. But the point of what I'm saying is for many years we sweated for many years. I remember when we had the last $700 in our bank account got stolen, and the bank wouldn't give us the money. So somebody purchased with a debit card. They didn't have the debit card. I don't know how people do this, but they made a purchase with our debit card and they signed for it. The signature looked nothing like my wife's signature or my signature, but the payment went through and we found it right away. And it was around Christmas time. This was probably 8 or 9 years ago, around Christmas time. And, I've never seen my wife get more angry. Well, it was like the last $700 that we had. It was Christmas time. And she's like, yo, this was fraudulent. I need this money. And the B at the bank was just feeling her power, and she was not going to give us that money back. And it took my wife 2 months and hours to get that money back. And so I understand very, very closely and very intimately the sweat that you put in to try to pay your bills when you're poor. We were poor. And I realized that if I want to get out of this doom loop, I have to learn business. I have to learn to hire people. Well, I have to learn to source people first, then hire the right people. I have to have insurance. I have to pay payroll taxes. I have to learn about sales. I have to get better at sales. I have to do marketing and get better at marketing, or we got to make a website. We got to blah, blah, blah. We need to be shored up legally so that we're not working and putting in all of our sweat equity to only get sued, some frivolous lawsuit, to lose it all. We have to learn to protect ourselves. We have to learn to reduce liabilities. All these things that have nothing to do with sweat. They have everything to do with the mind. And so while you can make a lot of money with sweat and with your hands, you can make way more money with your mind. And so I know very much all about sweat. I still sweat. Not only do we have a bookkeeping practice, we have real estate. I have 4 units. And so that means 4 different renters, 4 different parties that rent, not just 4 different people, but 4 different parties that rent. Everybody's unique. Everybody has their own needs. Everybody has their own perspectives. Everybody has their own attitudes and their own way of communicating. And like last week, it cost $150 for my electrician to come out, just to come out. To come to your house, it costs $150. So I go, great. There was some plug that wasn't working on the outside of the house. They didn't have internet. That's a big deal because my tenants typically work online. So if they don't have internet, I'm like, okay, it's going to cost me $150 just to have the guy come out. And then for every additional 15 minutes, it's X more dollars. Okay. So they told me about this one plug, my tenants are stupid. My tenants are single people that don't think about other people. They think about themselves. And I'm not mad about that. It just is what it is. So $150 I pay. Okay, go. Okay, fix the thing. Okay, probably cost me, in the end, it'll probably cost me $200. Well, the next day, the tenant hits me back and he's like, oh yeah, I forgot to tell you about these 3 other outlets on the inside of the house. I'm like, why the hell didn't you tell me about those outlets? I could have had the electrician fix those outlets at the same time. I didn't know about them. So now I got to pay $150 again. Do you know what I'm saying? So you have to deal with that crap. We just had a deluge of water. A deluge. I forget if it was Gilbert or Debbie. I think it was Hurricane Debbie that was cutting through the Gulf last week. Monday last week, I believe it was. And there was so much water. You can't even believe it. I've never seen a deluge like this where the water, the thunder and the lightning, It was incessant all freaking night, and almost for 2 full days, it dumped water. And so I'm stressing because I purchased a renovation, a flip back in, it was a rehab, not a flip. It was a rehab back almost 2 years ago now. I had purchased it because it flooded after Ian. I got a good deal on it, whatever. But now every year I'm like, is it going to flood again? And this time, I mean, it came really close to flooding this year, but it didn't. And I think it's because I pray. But also, I'm out there stacking 60 sandbags. You know, sandbags are 50 pounds each. I'm stacking 60 sandbags in the pouring rain. The lightning starts clapping all around me. I'm like risking my life to save the house from flooding. But it is what it is. I'm not complaining about it. I'm just going sweat equity, right? Now I know what it's like to sweat. Okay. So while I'm not working in the bookkeeping practice, I've got other things to do. I've got to go trim the hedges. I got to water the plants. I've got to make sure the tenants coordinate with the electricians. One of the other units, a shelf broke because one of my tenants just overloaded it with all their bullshit. Excuse my French. I'm just like, how could you have so much crap to where you literally bend the brackets and whatever? But I'm like, you know what? Whatever. It is what it is. I'm not getting angry. I'm not angry at that. I'm just like, you just go, there's always something. Now, I'm not against the something, though, because I know that the something is paying my bills. It's paying my bills. Like, really, really well. And so I go, okay, bless you, Lord. Thank you. And really that, so there's other things you do. I'm saying that I understand the sweat side. That's what I'm saying. And sweat is inevitable if you're poor and you want to be rich. You're going to have to sweat. Unless you like buy ball sack coin for $100 and it goes to, your $100 goes to $1 million. If you do that once a year with the right meme coin, but that's just weird. That's not going to happen. You're going to win the lottery. Okay. Good luck. What I'm saying is most people have to sweat before they get to make the big bucks without sweating. And so the journey of becoming rich, I think it's so much better that someone starts poor if they want to really understand how to be wealthy. There's nothing better than being broke in the beginning and then building up your wealth and realizing what it took to build that. And then that's why it's so difficult. Like, it's pretty difficult to get rich. It is. But the difficult part isn't that it can happen quickly. Like for us, it happened relatively quickly. I wouldn't say like we're fully wealthy yet. I think wealth is more of a mindset that you're developing, because your mind, like I said, can make far more money than your hands and your sweat equity. That's what I believe. And across the board, that's just really how it is. It's like these guys on Wall Street are not crawling up under their crawl spaces. They're getting multi-million dollar bonuses at the end of the year for working for these companies that you know what I'm saying. It's like, but they have other stresses, and they're playing with markets. They lost 50 million last week, so they have to go do some other play to get that back and keep their investors from pulling their whatever. So there's other stresses and things, and you're paying the price in some regard at all times. But it's interesting because, again, the ebbs and flows of life, where from the beginning of 2023, oh my God, I was so stressed out into 2024 until about March, April. And then, we stabilized some things. We lost a few teammates. We replaced them with better people. All this stuff happened. And you just go, oh, you'll wake up after 3 weeks and you're going, what do I have to do today? And then your manager is like, oh, everything's good. We're good. Everything's rocking. All the Monthlies are good. All the quarterlies are good for all of our clients. The payroll's running fine. Nobody has any issues. We're cruising. That is an amazing feeling because you're going, I'm not working, but I already did all the work to get to this place of where I'm not working right now. And I've been dealing with some health stuff and some insomnia and things like that. So that's really what I've been focusing on, is the things that really matter in my life. My kids, I've been spending a ton of time with my girls. I've been spending a lot of time with my wife. Like I said, I've been traveling a little bit and enjoying time with the boys. We've been going to, we go to the aquarium. We go to the restaurant over there. We hang out with so-and-so. We got to go to today, my in-laws live right down the street, but they travel every summer for about 2 or 3 months. And we have a housekeeper that comes and cleans the house once every 2 weeks. I would do it once a week. And actually, we're probably going to be doing it once a week pretty quick here, because, it's $140 for our housekeeper to clean this whole house. And she does an excellent job. And we tip her $10. She's happy with the pay. It's consistent work for her. We're happy because of the value it provides. It saves us 3 hours. She's here 3 hours cleaning, and it saves us 3 hours of cleaning. And so what we did is every other Tuesday, she comes over. We have to get out of the house because we have 2 girls. Our house isn't huge. We're very grateful for what we have, but we have to get out of the house so that our housekeeper can clean. And so we do. And so we went over to her folks' house today because they had window guys coming over fixing some windows. So we go over there. We let the window guys in. We're chilling for a few minutes. And then one of the guys, he's like, because my girls are with me and school just started up again for all the penitentiary kids at public school. All the poor bastards at public school. It's really actually sad that you would ever send your kids to public school. I got to say, it's horrible. It's just a prison, and it's unhealthy, and they're being encouraged and groomed to be gay and sexually demented. And they're teaching you calculus and things that you'll never use in the real world ever. And, it's just insane to me to send your kids to school for 8 hours and then they come home and they have 2 hours of homework. Like, blow your own effing head off, please. Like, it's insane. The Federal Reserve, by the way, I don't know if you know this, but the Federal Reserve is the body that approves or disapproves the federal school curriculum. It's the Federal Reserve. It comes straight from the Federal Reserve. So the banks won't loan money to an 18-year-old who wants to buy a house, but they'll loan money to an 18-year-old who wants to blow $100,000 on a college party for 4 years, a 4-year college party where they learn about being gay and the X and Y chromosomes and how to chop your dick off. Excuse my French. But they won't teach you about bookkeeping 101. They won't teach you about business negotiation. They won't teach you, you know what I'm saying? And the people that are teaching you most of the time at colleges are a bunch of retards, and they're scrupulous people. They're on drugs. They're straight out of liberal leftist college, and it's insane. Anyways, I'll never send my kids there. I'll never do it. It's amazing. But either way, this dude, this window guy over at the in-laws, he's like, oh, no school today? I'm like, fool, it's school every day. This is school. I don't know if you know that. You obviously don't, because your kids are at penitentiary. I was like, we homeschool. And he's like, oh, that's awesome. It's like, yeah, my kid, he had to go back to school, and man, he hates it so bad, and blah, 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 blah. So you got to do that because you want to go to college, right? Got to get good grades because I ain't paying for your college. Well, why would you send your kid to college? Are you insane? These people are insane. Anyways, whatever, dude, do what you want, be a slave if you want, freaking eat horse meat if you want. That's what they're I swear to God, they're feeding your kids horse meat and rat meat in the school lunches. But whatever, I'm out there, bro. So, but he's sitting here going like he's at his 9 to 5. He's fat. He's insanely overweight. He's sending his kid to this penitentiary. His kid gets 2 hours of homework every night after 8 hours of being around all the crazy leftist teachers. I'm just like, you guys are insane. This is insane. Why are you doing this to yourselves? So it just the contrast of someone who has a 9 to 5 who sends their kid to federal indoctrination, and then he's going, there's these questions people say, well, why aren't your kids in school? Well, they are in school. They're in school right now. This is school. And I would rather have them hanging around me than some freaking crazy public school woman who's getting her brains knocked around by 5 different dudes every month. And she's on the pill and she has PICOs and she doesn't know why she's so freaking out of control in her own life and she's stealing stuff. You can't even, public school teachers, oh my God, it's that's what I'm saying is there's certain things that cannot be redeemed, like the state of the church right now. It's so pagan, it's crazy. And people want to reform the church. You can't. You've got to start over. Like it's done. Public schools, you'll never reform it. You're going to have to start over, do your own thing, because it's nothing that will ever be reformed. Okay. You're not going to make a difference. You're not. You have to start something else. You have to create a different culture. You have to separate yourself from the camp. You have to separate yourself from what's popular. You have to be willing to, put up with ridicule if you want to go to places you've never been before. To go places you've never been before, you have to be willing to do things you've never done before. It's one of my sayings that I live by. And so the way that we live is so foreign to people. But what am I talking about? The ebb and flow of work and investing. So work, we were investing in, our investment was sweat equity at the beginning when we started our business. It's sweat equity. You're sweating to make the money. But the sweat can also be the investment, because the sweat is what we put into the business. And it was an investment because we had to wear all the hats at the beginning. And then one by one, you're taking a hat off and you're putting it on someone else's head. So, employee, subcontractor, 10 clients over here, 10 clients over there, 15 clients over here, management spreadsheets, daily accomplishment reports. So you're establishing these things, but then you're passing off those jobs to where one day the only hat you have left that you're wearing is owner. And we're not owners, we're members, because we have structured our lives to not own anything. I don't even own the clothes that I wear. The trust that we operate owns everything. And the trust can't be sued. Eminent domain does not apply to the trust. We're not taxed on capital gains, period, across the board. 95% of our income is considered unearned income because we have a 95% partnership with our non-grantor, complex, discretionary, spendthrift. What's the fifth pillar? It's a non-grantor, irrevocable, complex, discretionary, spendthrift trust. It's unincorporated, so it's private contract. And I'm insane. I know I'm insane, but it's a beautiful way to live, and I'm totally at peace with the IRS. And it's all in compliance. It's amazing. It's just that's what I'm saying is I didn't grow up in the public system, so I know a whole different set of rules than federally indoctrinated people understand. I just operate differently. It's not illegal. It's not in the shadows. It's just that I utilize, CPAs learn this much of the tax code when there's this whole that like this is like what the tax code looks like. There's like 70 something thousand pages. And CPAs learn this much, and then they're allowed to generate tax returns. They're allowed to file your taxes for you and prepare tax returns. But then they don't realize that this chunk of the tax code actually exists. And they don't really know. They've heard bits and pieces about this, but they're indoctrinated to believe this part is the only part that matters. And so I just have a CPA that utilizes this part, and it's amazing. But if you're doing it right, if you're poor, inevitably there's going to be sweat equity. Inevitable. It's inevitable. You're going to have to do things you don't want to do. But if you're certain on where you want to end up, then the sweat doesn't really bother you that much. It gets old after a while, but it's all part of the journey to become wealthy. It's all part of the journey of learning the head game and the mental game, and understanding the other things beyond the sweat. Really, there's a saying that I've recently thought about this week, and it's the person who knows how will always have a job. The person who knows why will always be the boss. There's how and there's why. As pertains to the trust, I told you we have this trust in everything, all of this, the computer, my clothes, our car, our properties, everything is owned by the trust. I literally own nothing, but I have the privilege of controlling everything. Because why? Because I unlocked it. So essentially, I mean, like, it's insane when I talk about this stuff, because you're going, okay, $1 million top line. Say you got $1 million top line. Well, if you're bringing in $1 million, you're going to have write-offs and stuff, but you're going to be paying a lot of income tax on an LLC, which is what we were. We were an S corp, and we revoked our S corp status so that we could partner together with our five pillars trust, or 643 trust. And on $1 million, so this is just what I learned, and this saves me. I mean, I make so much more money than our practice, our bookkeeping practice, bring our profit, our net with our bookkeeping practice. As of today, we keep about 39 cents of every dollar that we bring in. 39 cents, okay, of every dollar that we bring in. That's after expenses. That's our net. Okay. But basically, how we do it is that $1 million, say it's $1 million. I'm not saying it's $1 million. I'm saying if you take $1 million as an example, and that's what comes into my business, to my LLC. Well, my bookkeeping practice is partnered with my trust. Okay. My bookkeeping practice only owns 5% of the revenue that it generates. 95% passes through to the trust. So $1 million comes in and $950,000 goes to the trust, tax-free. This is the power private contract. How, man? How? I don't know the tax code. I know how to utilize the tax code. I don't know why. My CPA knows why. I don't need to know. I don't need to know why. Now, the why is fun if you like to learn about the why. And it's good to continue to learn about the why, because I want to be the why guy. I don't want to always just be the how guy. The guy who knows why doesn't always know how either. That's for a different example. But I want to be the why guy. Okay. But the best way to become the why guy is to be the how guy at the beginning. If that makes sense. Okay. So I know how it works. Even though most CPAs that understand this portion of the tax code, they tell me you're wrong. You're going to go to prison. I would never do that. That's insane. You're insane. Stay away from that guy. All the while, the IRS is like, oh, yeah, okay, cool. Here you go. Cool. Great tax return. I'm like, okay. You can believe what you want to believe. That's why investing is about belief too. So much about investing is about belief. You've got these guys, these CPAs down here, the CPAs who know this section. They go, you should never like you should never buy. There's these investment. There's these trusts. You don't need like these irrevocable complex discretion, blah, 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 because the amount of money that it's going to save you, you're not going to save that amount of money. Like the amount that it costs you, they tell you this, the amount that it costs you to buy one of those trusts isn't worth it because it's going to take you so long to just repay yourself for the cost of that trust than it is to operate regularly. That's a lie. It's not true. They don't know what they're talking about. I don't care who you are. Cofield advisors, I don't care who you are. You don't know what the frick you're talking about. And it's amazing to go to a CPA who's been trained as a CPA, who went to college as a CPA, who learned to follow all the rules of this part of the code. And they've never seen this part of the code. You know what I'm saying? And I'm going to them and I'm like, yeah, well, you could run circles around me with your knowledge of the tax code. You could. Of this section. You could. But it's so crazy because I don't even need to know that. Because I'm exempt. Because I understand the way that it works. I understand the how. Okay. And it works. I don't know how else to tell you. Like, I'm not, like, it's crazy. But then you tell them this and they're offended because their ego is attached to that college degree. Their ego is attached so strongly to how they learned it from their teacher. And where'd their teacher learn it? From the last teacher. Where'd the last teacher learn it? From the previous teacher. Who learned it from where? The Federal Reserve. And so if you're going to understand taxes, you have to understand status, political status. If you really want to save your clients the most money, I can say there is not, this is a crazy statement. There is no CPA on earth who operates according to this code right here. There's no CPA on earth who saves their clients a marginal amount of money. It's like marginal. It's marginal. Like, oh yeah, we saved our client $5,000. Oh, cool. Well, but it costs $2,500 so you only really saved me $2,500. You cost me $2,500. You know what I'm saying? Like these, oh, it's $20,000. What are you going to do with $20,000 extra dollars at the end of the year? Now, is it nice to have? Yeah, but I'm going low, bro. Like I can save you if you, not me. I'm not a CPA, but I'll connect you with my CPA. I can save you just with information, just with me connecting you to my CPA who understands this section of the tax code. Okay. I can save you so much more money than your CPA right away. Like it's not even close. Like I will save you so much freaking money. And these CPAs run around, they're going like, oh yeah, like you can look at all these. They're doing mental gymnastics. They're learning tax codes and the new rules that are coming out all the time. That the legislature wants to continue to confuse you and I with concepts that we don't understand and legalese and all this BS. And I'm going, it doesn't even apply to me. It's insane. And like, I swear to God, like, I'll save your clients. There's not a CPA down here. There's not a CPA from this tranche of CPAs that can save you more money than I can save you, and I'm not a CPA. And it's just with one thing. It's called private contract. Now, I understand, though, most people are not going to operate like me because they're afraid. Because they don't have a divine revelation of who they are. And they've let fear rob them their whole lives. And they just want to play it safe. And they don't want to have to learn anything new. And they just, I'm fine to marginally win, okay? Well, I'm not. I want to destroy. I want to experience more. Lots more. There's so much that I want in life. There's so much that I want to experience. There's so many things that I want to do. My appetite for creativity is so huge that I need more. I need more. But one of the ways to get more is to understand and be able to comprehend and think about and be aware of the more that actually exists. That's what it's more like. It's like there's so much more than this. But CPAs are products of a system that is meant to reinforce the belief that this is all there is. And so you'll never be free. Even the billionaires, even the billionaire guys don't know about this stuff. This is insane. Certain ones do, of course. And it's becoming more and more mainstream. And private contract is becoming more and more mainstream all the time. What am I saying? I'm talking about trust, but I had to learn about that because I go, okay, well, I want my business to survive. I don't want to have to pay such high income taxes. I don't want to have to. I mean, the other thing is you do not have to pay income taxes in the United States. And you do not have to pay payroll taxes in the United States, period. There is no law that requires you to pay income taxes or to pay federal payroll taxes if you notify your legislators that you understand the law and that you realize that you were duped. And I don't know if you realize this, but even the commissioner of the IRS, I have it literally on my computer. I saved it. It's incredible. The commissioner of the IRS in 2015 is on the Hill at Congress. And he says out of his mouth, the federal tax code is voluntary. The income tax is voluntary. It's a voluntary tax system. And what you don't know is you've already entered into voluntarily a tax system that is screwing your lights out. And you don't even know it. It's fraud. That's what I'm saying is the federal government operates in fraud. They print money out of thin air. Now, that's the debt-based system. That's our credit system. That's how, if they stopped printing, the system would collapse. And $34 trillion doesn't scare the Fed. They can keep this going for decades and probably more centuries. They could keep this going. And people are sitting here freaking out about $34 trillion debt. And more than half of the debt is interagency debt, federal interagency debt. You don't even know what you're talking about. People don't even know what they're freaking talking about. It's interagency debt. So the Department of whatever, Defense owes the Department of the Treasury, or the Department of Education, or whatever. I don't, you know what I'm saying? This department owes that department, owes that department. They all owe each other, and they just pass around the same dollars, and then they print more, and then they devalue your buying power, and then they don't tell you about private contract, and then they don't report their stock trades. And when they get in trouble for not reporting their stock trades, it's only $200 slap on the wrist. And it's just insane. Like, okay. So what am I saying? I'm saying that there are ebbs and flows in investing. in work and investing. So before I got to this place where for the last 2 months I haven't really been working in the services business, in our bookkeeping practice. But it took many years to get to that point. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's like if you're doing business right, if you're investing correctly, at some point, you can't necessarily predict the timing of it. You can kind of ballpark it, but there's things you don't know. You don't have a crystal ball. You can't, William Goldman said, "Nobody knows nothing." It's one of my favorite quotes of all time. Nobody knows nothing. What a seemingly kind of like a white trash, hopeless, down in the dumps, bottom of the barrel sort of a statement. Like, nobody knows nothing. But if you know who William Goldman was, this guy was a king, man. And he's so frustrated. And he's so like up to here with all the BS. He's like, nobody knows nothing. That's what these big time investors, hedge fund managers are like. You have to have such a good nose for BS at that level. But the BS at that level is so magical, and you got to watch. I'm sure, be really careful. But William Goldman gets to the point where he's a media mogul, and he's like, nobody knows nothing. It's crazy, and really, that's the truth. Nobody really does know anything. History does not repeat. History rhymes. History rhymes with itself, and so that's what we base our predictions on. The best way to predict is by looking back at history and looking at probability. And so that's what the best investors do: probability and history. But nobody has a crystal ball. So when we're looking at how do I get wealthy? How do I get rich? How do I just get enough to begin to start investing? We're going to have to sweat. But if you sweat in the correct way, you're going to put in systems that at the end of that journey, not at the end of that journey, but I guess while you're in the middle of that journey, if you built it right, if you invested correctly, those investments are going to take care of you. So that's why throughout the week, now the last 2 months, and we're not in major growth mode right now. We were in stabilized mode up until 2 months ago, and then it just automatically like stabilized. And you're like, hold on, so-and-so's doing that. They're doing that. They're doing that. I get to like go read a book today and go swim in the pool and go on a workout. Go do a workout in the middle of freaking day. And then the next day I wake up like, what am I going to do today? I'm going to finish that book. Yeah. The next day what am I going to do today? I'm going to lay in the sun. I'm going to eat sauerkraut and lay in the sun and work on my six pack. What are you going to do today? I'm going to play with the girls all freaking day, and we're going to make popsicles that are multicolored. And I'm going to go teach Audie how to begin driving, because Luna drives really well, but I spent time with Luna driving her little Mercedes electric car. And then I got to go do that with Audie now. I get to go do that with Audie now. Dad, we want to go to the park. Can we go to the park today, right now? I'm like, yes, let's go to the park. I don't have nothing to do today. It's not that you don't have nothing to do, but you know what I'm saying. And this won't last forever. And I don't want it to last forever because it's boring. And I'm only 38. I got some more money to make and everything. But now you go, oh, we built that. We invested in that. We built that. This is what's supposed to happen. This is the natural way that it's supposed to happen. Is you invest, you sweat, and then your investment takes away the sweat. And again, I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, but I just go, I'm just enjoying today. I'm enjoying today. And I'm relaxing, and I'm learning, and I'm de-stressing, and I'm reading, and I'm writing a book, and I'm doing these YouTube talks, and I'm developing, and so it's not like the work is done. It's just like if you invest right, you're not going to have to do the work that you don't want to do. More so, and as time goes on, eventually you're not going to have to do much work that you don't want to do, because you'll have the resource. You invested correctly, you'll have the resource to be able to get other people to do those things, or technology to do those things. Yeah. So one of the reasons why I haven't been in such a hurry to get to get to the next thing is because it's been a journey. It's been a journey, and I've had a lot of stress the last year and a half. And that came from growth and making big decisions and marrying problems that I can't get divorced from right now. Like, I got to stick this out. We have a real estate deal that I have to stick out. We have these crypto investments that I have to stick out. We have, you know what I'm saying? So it's not like I can just stop working. But for the last 2 months, I just haven't really wanted to work. And so I haven't. And get this too. We made more the last 2 months than we've ever made. We billed for more the last 2 months than we've ever billed for. And I've done less work the last 2 months than I've ever done. So there you go. Now I guess I'll just say this, the crypto run right now, because we're right there. I've made my predictions. The power that is being built up right now for this coming bull run. We're in a bull run. You saw prices go up to 70,000 plus on Bitcoin, and they tanked down to below 50,000. So it hit just below 50,000 about a week and a half ago. When Bitcoin went from 70 whatever down to 50,000, the retail investors, I don't know if you saw this, but this was about a week and a half ago. When it dumped, there were retail investors. Retail investors, you guys think about, just the regular people who watch the news. That's a retail investor. That's how I think about them. They're regular people who just watch the news. They watch Fox. There's a lot of boomers still. They're people who follow the mainstream. And what they did is they sold off their Bitcoin when it was tanking. Most retail investors sold off their stash of Bitcoin about a week and a half ago for a loss. But if you watch the smart money, which is the institutional money, these are the guys who know money and they know investing, and they know that it's an emotional game, and they understand trends, and they understand history, and they understand probability. They don't have a crystal ball, but they have charts. So the guys watching the charts, institutional money, big money, they tanked the price of Bitcoin on purpose. They manipulate prices. They acquire Bitcoin through wallets directly, not through exchanges. It's insane. Like, you just don't know. There's OWCs. They don't use exchanges. So they're trading large amounts of money. Like, I'll trade $1,000 here, $2,000 there, $500 here, a few $100. You know what I'm saying? But these guys will go like, okay, I want to put 100 million in. Okay, so that's my trades are not going to move the price of Bitcoin. Their trades are going to move the price of Bitcoin. So you have all these things happening. You go, okay, retail is panic selling, and then all over the headlines, oh, Bitcoin's tanking. What are we going to do? Well, who controls those? The news stations, the institutional investors. They want retail to sell. They want to wash you out. It's a competition. They're trying to kill you. They don't care about you. They don't care about the little guy. They care about their stockholders. They care about their IPO. They care about their market share. They care about, the charts. And while the retail sold, do you know what institutional money did? This just happened a week and a half ago. Institutional money bought Billions. I think it was like $14 or $15 billion worth of Bitcoin. Shot the price right back up. Investing is an emotional game. So there are ebbs and flows with work. And in any investment market, there are ebbs and there are flows. There's moments where there's pullbacks and there's pumps. At the same time, people are freaking out about the stock market because there's a big stock market correction. Well, in 2023, there was a real estate correction. And now you got people yelling about, oh, there's going to be a real estate crash because prices are too high. You don't know what you're talking about. You don't know what you're talking about. There is not going to be a real estate crash. To have a real estate crash, you have to have millions of distressed owners. You have to have millions of distressed sellers. But 80% of everyone in the United States who has a mortgage right now, their mortgage is under 4%. They're not distressed. They're locked in. They're just going, oh, I don't, I kind of want to move on. So like the president or the CEO of Redfin today, he was saying that they've had a 30% increase in people that have contacted them to sell their homes. But that's not because of distress. That's because people just want to move on. That's what he said in the interview. I just posted it in my story today, Instagram. People are not distressed. They want to move on. They're just kind of bored or they want to get out of their neighborhood or whatever. They're just ready to move on. So like as interest rates drop in September, we know, I guess we don't know because I don't have a crystal ball, but we know that the Fed promised that there's going to be 2 to 3 interest rate drops before the end of the year. This is election season. This is the Bitcoin cycle. They're doing it to pump the price of crypto because cryptocurrency and blockchain it's the new financial infrastructure. And so institutional money knows that. That's why they're buying Bitcoin when retail's selling, because they want to get the majority of the wealth and they want to control that. And they are. It's just it's what they do because retail investors are so emotional. They have no plan. They're just trying to make a quick buck and fly by night. No, you have to have a plan, bro. You got to stick to it. You got to not watch the news. You got to watch your charts. You got to watch the smart money. So anyways, so institutional money is buying. And so all this stuff is price manipulation, whatever. You're going to see it's such supply shock. It's coming. It's like the price predictions for Bitcoin, just Bitcoin. I would say 95% of them are off right now. 95% of them. I just don't believe them. I don't believe them. Why? Because I believe something else. I believe something else. I believe supply shock is coming so hard to Bitcoin. Your mind is going to explode, especially if Trump wins the election, which is rigged. I believe that the election is rigged. I believe that there has never been a legitimate election, a political election in history. I believe in the last 50 years, there's never been a Super Bowl that wasn't planned from the beginning, or a World Series, or an NBA Finals, or an NCAA championship in any sport. I believe that things are planned. The real game happens before the game starts. Have you ever read Sun Tzu? Ben, you're an idiot. You're a conspiracy theorist. Have you ever read Sun Tzu? Have you ever read the 48 Laws of Power? Have you ever read the 50th Law? Have you ever read the Law of Human Nature? Have you ever read this part of the tax code? Are you just stuck down here? What was I talking about that, though? NFL, money. I forget what I was saying. One way or the other, the election, that's what I was saying. The election is rigged. It's crazy. I go to the chiropractor. He's talking about, oh, I'm scared about Kamala. I'm scared about, I think she's going to win or whatever. I'm like, I don't even think about that bitch. I don't even think about her. It doesn't affect me. It does affect me long term. Yeah. Like, does it affect the markets? Yeah, it does. Okay. But the only way in which it would affect Bitcoin is if Trump wins, Bitcoin's going to go to such a level that you could never even believe. If Kamala wins, it'll go up. It'll go up. So yeah, that's how politics affects it. I don't really care. I don't vote no more. Forget voting. Like it's crazy how we saw the 2020 election. And you're just like, we know everything that we know about the 2020 election outside of the mainstream, like the things that we know now that are fact about the 2020 election, how rigged it was and how much fraud there is. And then you realize, oh, it's been like this forever. And they're never going to fix it. Joe Biden supposedly won more popular vote than Obama. Get out of here. Get out of here. Come on. And everybody believes that. Man, we got to get the vote out. Shut the hell up. Like, go vote for Jesus. And then watch your Bitcoin charts. That's what I say. So anyways, I don't care if it's Kamala. Kamahala. Kamahala. Whatever, she's always giggling like a little schoolgirl. She's been knocked around. She got her brains knocked around all the way up to the vice presidency. It's insane. And then, oh my God, Joe Biden. But that's the thing. It's like I could go into these theories all day. Like it's never been Joe Biden in the White House. Did you see? Like it's crazy because I was on Gab. I was on Gab for the whole 2020 election, and the things that they show on Gab, they're nowhere in the mainstream. It's unbelievable. Like the videos that you see. And just nobody wants to even, on the left, nobody even wants to talk about it. On the right, they're all freaking worked up. Everybody on the right now thinks that the assassination attempt on Trump was real. Bro, that was the most staged freaking rigged thing I've ever seen in my life. It's just like, whatever, bro. I got like 10 calls from my boomer friends like, Trump just got shot. They tried to kill him, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, you guys, that's great. Keep watching your WWE because I'm just going to be watching the charts. That's all I care about. When a guy like Trump goes and he pardons Jared Kushner's father, the Rothschilds. Not saying the Kushners are the Rothschilds. Maybe there's some intermarriage or incest going on there. I have no doubt. But that's how, Kushner, he's very connected to the Rothschilds. And the Rothschilds have funded both sides of every freaking war for centuries. And Trump goes and he pardons Kushner's dad, who's an evil, like you can't even believe what he did. You can't even believe what these guys do. Nobody knows about this. I mean, people know, but most people, most retail investors don't know anything. Most people who vote don't know jack about anything. And I'm like the things that I know, I know a lot about rabbit trails and conspiracy theories or whatever. And I believe many, many, many of them. And there are definitely conspiracies going on. If you don't believe in conspiracies, that I conspire with my wife against my kids. If you don't think there's conspiracies, you got a loose screw, bro. You just think there's that guy. You just think that the government's batting 1,000, being honest about everything. My God. So then he pardons Little Wayne. And then he gets ASAP Rocky back for freaking Netherlands or wherever he was imprisoned for doing whatever he was doing. And then he leaves Julian Assange in prison to rot. He leaves Edward Snowden in prison to rot. He leaves Ulbricht, is it Lars Ulbricht? The Silk Road guy, leaves him in prison to rot while he pardons criminals. It's crazy. So anyways, like that's why I like Trump, because he pisses everybody off. I like his style. He's not diplomatic at all. That's what people say. I go, no, you don't understand him. But it's okay because he's the freaking king of the world. But he's not. But you know what I'm saying? He's the media king of the world. Okay. It's been about an hour. Thanks for listening, y'all. There are ebbs and flows. If you're investing right, you may be flowing. You may be flowing. Maybe flow is the right. But you may be working, churning, sweating, perspiring. But if you're doing it right, at some point, those investments are going to pick you up and carry you. And so that's what's going to happen. What happened in my business the last 2 months is something that now we know how to sustain by God's grace because of the things that we've learned to be able to live the life that we're living right now. And that's what will happen with our crypto investments as well. You know, it's going to carry us. If we're investing correctly, it's going to carry us. And then you're going to realize I'm not sweating as much as I was. I'm not worrying as much as I was. I'm understanding the seasons and the time difference, the difference between the times and the seasons. I'm understanding charts. I'm understanding history. I'm understanding business. I'm understanding that the things that I'm doing now to develop my mind and to grow my wealth are things that don't take perspiration. They take a calm environment of learning and of applying. And while we risked a bunch up front, we're having to risk less and less down the line because you're learning how things work. So don't be of the opinion that because you're not on the treadmill today, that you're not working. When you're sweating, if you're not sweating, you're not working is not true. It's oftentimes more true that if you're not sweating, that's more effective than when you are sweating, if that makes sense. We all know how to sweat. But we don't all know what put options are. We don't all understand, the new financial infrastructure. We don't understand where XRP and XLM and XDC are being used, and they're the new bank rails. We don't understand blockchain or what it is. We don't understand when war happens, the market takes a dive. We don't understand. You know what I'm saying? So those are the things that are so important to be learning on the days when you're not sweating. And that's what's going to ultimately help you gain wealth without sweating. That's maybe what I should have called this talk, was gain wealth without sweating. Anyways, thanks for listening. And, I know I'm just in an Adidas shirt. I wear this crap shorts and a t-shirt every day, but, we're killing it. Maybe if I wore a suit and a tie, we'd kill it even more. I don't know. But I'm still kind of enjoying my not working right now. And I am going to go on the SBDC later today and get in touch with the mentors that are free there, and start down this government contracting road. That's I've talked a little bit about that in the past on some of my talks here, and that's another subject I'll be talking more about, and definitely a way to very quickly grow your business if you don't want to sweat, is government contracting, or if you want to sweat less, or if you want to sweat for a shorter period of time. Anyways, there's always lots to talk about. You can go back, look at some of my other videos. Don't forget I have those there. And like, subscribe, share if this helped you at all, or if you think that this talk could help someone else. I hope I've encouraged you, and I hope that it has added value and purpose and meaning to your life and your journey. And go to benjaminmira.com if you want to get in touch. I'm still developing the website. Like, I'm at the beginning of my YouTube, guys. Like, I've only been doing this for a month or two, and there's a number of talks that I've given already that I've just deleted, because you got to get the bad stuff out of your system first before you get to the good stuff. But you know what? I'm loving the journey. This is perspiration to a certain extent. But I know it's a great investment, and media equals leverage down the road. So that's why I'm not concerned about numbers right now. I'm concerned about the job that I'm doing, the truth that I'm communicating, the legacy that I'm leaving behind for my kids and for folks that can benefit and enhance their legacy and make their money and enjoy more of their life and have a better, more healthy, more grateful perspective in life. And that's why I'm doing this. I'm not doing this for numbers. I don't need accolades. I've got my trust. I've got my income. I've got my cash flow. I've got my family. I've got my fun. I've got my health. I've got my faith. I've got salvation. I know the Lord Jesus. I'm not a perfect man, but I'm loving it. I'm loving life. And it's not always easy. And you don't know when something's going to hit. But you know what? I'm not going to live white knuckle. I'm enjoying the journey, and I want you to as well. So God bless you. Thanks for watching. I'll be back with more, and God bless.